Hey everybody, it is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Monday, December 30th, 2019. So we are now in the final hour of the trading day. As I mention each day, in my opinion, the most valid prices to make your buying and selling decisions from each day are the prices that are as close to the close of the day as possible. During the day, you have the algorithms, you have the day traders, they're battling it out all day long. I consider those prices a lot of noise. I consider the prices at the end of the day when the large financial institutions and market makers come in with size, with the best information, with the best technology. They come in and move the market at the end of the day. And in my opinion, most valid prices to make your buying and selling decisions from. So, we're having an interesting day. The Dow is down 171 points, down 0.6%. The NASDAQ is down 58 points, down 0.65. And the S&P is down 18 points. So, red day across the board. Fortunate on our end, my end, actually having a pretty good day today. We were very light in the equity department. And we had some defensive positions. So I'm grateful for that for sure. So anyway, hey Dirk, good seeing you. Thanks for coming by. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice weekend. Evan, hello my friend. How you doing, bud? Good to see you. Thank you for coming by today. So the plan for today, as usual, first of all, we're going to go ahead and run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Second, we're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions. We're going to talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, and most importantly, how I'm going to manage them going forward. After that, we're going to do a few minutes on trader psychology. In my opinion, trader psychology and, in other words, discipline, sticking to your plan is the most important skill that you can develop. It's important to learn how to trade. It's important to be able to read your charts, look at support, resistance levels, indicators, entries, exits, all this. This is very important because it helps you build a plan. But after that, the more important skill is sticking with that plan. And I'm sure many of you have come up with plans and then not followed them. And listen, if you want to be a profitable trader long term, you got to just stick with your plan. You just have to stick with it. So if you're finding yourself building a plan, not sticking with it, it's something that you really have to work on. Either position size smaller, get a family member involved, tell them about your trades. Maybe they can oversee you, become your risk manager a little bit. It helps. I'm telling you, it does help. But whatever it takes to stick to your plan is what you have to do. That's my best advice for anyone if they want to be a long-term successful trader. So we're going to do a few minutes on trader psychology, some good trading words of wisdom. After that, we're going to go through my watch list, each stock by stock, look at all support, resistance, indicators, and I mention this also each day, but I look at indicators such as MACD and RSI and moving averages and ATR channels. I look at this as potential groups of buyers, not just lines or readings on my screen, but actual groups of buyers. And if you want a stock to go up, you need to be in the company as many buyers as possible. And if you look at one indicator as a group of buyers and another indicator of a group of buyers and another indicator as a group of buyers, if they all line up together, then you potentially not have one group of buyers, but three groups of buyers. And again, in order to make money in the market, you have to have other buyers when you're buying. That's what drives up the stock. So we're going to go down through the list. We're going to look for a confluence or a combination of indicators. That's the first requirement. Second requirement, we have to make sure we have a good risk to reward ratio. Sometimes you can have a nice confluence of indicators, but it may be too high or too low in the channel for it to offer you a good risk to reward ratio. And I like to have a minimum of a 2-to-1. So if I'm going to risk $100, I have the potential to make $200 or more. And then the third requirement is you have to make sure that you don't have too many correlated positions. If you have 3 tech stocks on, you don't want to put on another tech stock and just add to the technology sector. You want to have nice diversified positions maybe some tech stock, maybe some healthcare, maybe some tobacco, maybe some autos, maybe something outside of equity such as gold or bonds, oil, something like that. So 3 steps, what I'm going to be looking for. 1, a confluence or combination of indicators / buyers. 2, make sure I have a good risk to reward ratio. 3, make sure I don't have too many correlated positions. And then if I find something at the end of the day, looks good, go ahead and take the position. Then after the market closes, if anybody has any questions for me, if you need any clarification on anything I discussed, please let me know. I'm happy to clarify it. If you'd like me to take a look at any particular stock symbols, I'm very happy to do that, give you my humble opinion. And if you have any other questions about trading, even outside of something we didn't discuss, please let me know. And then lastly, if there are any stock symbols that you would like me to look at, break down, that you think would be important or helpful for the rest of the group, if you'd like me to break it down before the market closes, go ahead, type it in the chat, put a little asterisk by it or a star by it or something so I know that it's time sensitive. All right, so that's the plan for today. So listen, I'm going to go ahead and run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I will be back in about 40 seconds. Thank you. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. Okie dokie. Hey, JT is here. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for coming by, JT. Hope you had a nice weekend. Lolly is here. Happy Monday. Hi, Lolly. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Lolly and I hung out a little bit this weekend, and I got her charts all set up. And so she's a pretty sharp lady. I think she's going to do pretty well. So thanks for coming, Lolly. And say hello to Earl for me. JT says, is it only me that does not have a video, have audio? Evan says, I have video and audio. Okay, good. Glad to hear that, because on my end, everything looks good, and I wouldn't know what to do if you guys couldn't see it. So anyway, well, listen, let's get to it and go through current positions. So gold, I did buy gold back here on the 13th of December. We had the 5 EMA cross over the 20 EMA. This is a good back-tested approach to trading gold. The thing I like about the moving average crossovers is that if you're wrong quickly. You get out quickly when you're wrong. If you're right, you have the potential for a big move up, like fortunately we did on this particular trade. So we bought it here at 139.10, moved sideways for a while. The price stayed above both the 5 and the 20, and then it moved nicely. We did hit one profit target today, which is great. So currently my trailing stop, we're above 70 RSI, so my trailing stop will be a close below 70 RSI. If it keeps moving up, I'll continue to phase out. But like we did today with this one profit target here. But if it closes below the 70 RSI, that's where I will go ahead and lock in trade. But this has been a fantastic trade so far. And also we had a great trade on silver, and we recently got out of that because I ran out of shares. All right, the world famous overnight SPY trade. So listen, in case we have some new viewers today, I do want to quickly go over this, but I do buy the SPY S&P 500 ETF tracking SPY. I do buy that at the end of the day, every day, and I sell it first thing the next morning, regardless of technicals or levels or anything. And you might say, Greg, why in the world would you do that? So I do this based upon a long-term back-tested study from Liz Ann Saunders from 1993. They did this study, and they had 2 options. So they tested 2 approaches. The first approach was to buy the SPY each day at the open. sell it at the close. That's every day. Buy the open, sell the close. Buy the open, sell the close. Every day since 1993. If you'd have done this, you'd have returned a negative 13.9% return for all your troubles. However, if you do the opposite, which is what I do, and instead of buying at the open and selling the close, I buy the close, sell the next morning at the open. So buy the close, sell the next open, buy the close, sell the next open. If you would have used this approach every day since 1993, you'd have actually returned a positive 634.2%. So past performance is no guarantee of future results. That is true, and that goes for any trading approach, but I'd rather allocate money towards something that has good back-tested results than something that doesn't. And you can see the blue line is the buy in the afternoon, sell the next morning. The orange line is the buy at the open, sell at the close. You can see it's not even close. The buying in the afternoon, selling in the morning has done very, very well. 634.2% return, and the opposite, the buy in the morning, sell in the afternoon, negative 13.9%. So I love this chart. It shows you that if you have a good back-tested approach, trading approach with an edge, what it can look like over time. Doesn't go straight up, right? There's ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. But over the long run, if you do have an edge, it should play out. So anyway, really love this chart. So with that being said, I did buy the SPY Friday at 322.86. And sold this morning for 322.94 for a small little gain. But I think the more important takeaway there is we missed out on this whole big down move by getting right out there at the open. So this isn't particularly a very bullish sign to gap up and then reverse hard. But anyway, profit's a profit, so I'm happy to take it. And this has been a great trading approach for me this year. I started February 26th of this year, and percentage-wise, it's done very, very well. I mean, close to 15% so far for the year. So glad we hit the open and got out before all this carnage. And I will be buying the S&P again at the end of the day and selling it first thing tomorrow morning. All right, VIX. So VIX has been an excellent trade for us. I did buy VIX back here on the 20th of December. We went under 30 RSI intraday, closed above 30 RSI intraday. We also rejected the negative 30 TR channel, closed back above, and we also had a nice V1 entry. Here's day one. Day two washes out or goes below day one, closed above day one's close. So all of that was really good. And in addition, do you see the lows here? See how we start going sideways? Here's a low, here's a low, here's the low. On the day that I bought it, it poked its head below, so it broke out to a new lower range and then reversed back up. So, you know, I was talking about confluence of indicators. One, false breakout to the downside. Here was the range, broke down, came back up. That's one. Two, rejected the third ATR channel, which is important, negative third ATR channel, which is important. Why? Because 90% of prices tend to have support at the third ATR channel. So we have the false breakout to the downside. We have the rejection of the third ATR channel. We have the V1 entry, and we also went under 30, back over 30. So anyway, it moved sideways for a couple days, kept us in. Friday, we had a big day. Today, we had another big day. It's up 2.33%. So there is some volatility coming into the market. Of course, you know, the Dow's down 158. So obviously, there's some volatility coming in. So it's going to be interesting to see what the market does here. The last trading, I guess tomorrow's the last trading day of the year, last trading day of the decade, which still blows me away to think about that. But this is doing really nice. Now, I only bought a quarter position because the VIX tends to move so strongly compared to the rest of the market. So I only took a quarter position. Obviously, I wish I would have taken a full position, but I do that on VIX to try to keep things even. So anyway, really nice day today, up 2.4% and did hit one profit target. So that's it. So we had 3 trades today, all positive. Gold, we hit one profit target. SPY, we had a little nice overnight gap up there. So made a little on that, which is good. And then VIX was our big winner today. So that's pretty much it. No equities whatsoever right now. So, all right. Christopher Hitchin, hey, good to see you, sir. Hope you're having a nice evening in the UK, in Leeds, I believe, right? Thank you for coming. Dirk says, may I have your view on VERI, RSI in the 30 zone? Okay, let's take a look. VERI. Let's see here. Well, I certainly wouldn't buy it today based upon this chart. We had this nice reversal back up, Dirk, but you know, we had that big day on Friday back up. Right now, looks like we're closed below the halfway. When you go up this much, you should have support, some Fibonacci support here at the 50%, and we are below that. I don't think, honestly, I would get, and just my honest opinion, Dirk, but I don't think I would get involved with this at all unless we have a clear under 30, over 30, and ideally a rejection of the third ATR channel. If we look at the weekly, this would have been a really nice V2 on the weekly. Here's week 1, here's week 2, here's week 3. If we close on the weekly, I like it because we have this low here. We went down below, up above. So that is a false breakout to the downside. But if it were me, I on the daily, I would look for a under 30, over 30, or if you're trading the weekly, I would wait for this V2. Here would be day 1, day 2. You can see this has not closed above week 1, but if it did, that would be better. But that's my honest opinion. I really don't like that right now at all. Alan, good to see you, Alan. Thanks for coming, my friend. Bing He, good to see you, sir. Hope you had a nice weekend. Bing He's our friend from Singapore. William, hey, what's going on, bud? Good to see you. William's our friend from Hawaii, and he's got a golden doodle, a labradoodle named Cooper. And Lolly also has a labradoodle. Or is it a golden doodle, Lolly? Dang it, his name's Earl. A Man Solo, hey buddy, what's going on? Good to see you, my friend. Man Solo, we've had our first lesson last week. I think it went really well. Man Solo is very sharp. He caught on very quickly. And so I look forward to our next lesson, Man Solo. Pat Connell, good to see you, sir. Thank you for coming. Hope you had a nice weekend. Bing He took DRI at 108.72. DRI. Okay. $108.72. So that's Bing He. We'll add that to the list, and also we need to go over everyone's position. So let's take a look here. Uh-oh, what did I do? All right, so let's go ahead and put Bing He on the board here. So this is Bing He's trade. DRI. And good, so let's see what happens with that, huh, Bing He? I do like that it might trigger a V2 today. Let's see, the close was 108.91, but if it could close above, it's close. It's close. Then that would be a nice V2. So good luck on that, bud. Let's take a look real quick. So here's Evan. Evan bought DG, Dollar General, back on Friday at 156.61 when we had this higher low V2. Has moved nicely above. It was much higher earlier. You know, Evan, I'm sure, has his own plan here. But if it were me, I would probably get out today and lock in that profit because of the rejection of the 50-day. But that's just my opinion. But Evan, let me know what you decide to do. A man solo had this really nice trade back here on CMCSA, which is Comcast. Had this nice V2 and rejection of the 200-day. This has moved up super nicely here, hasn't it? If this were my trade, it's extended nicely above where he entered it. I would use a close below the previous day's low, or maybe a rejection of the third ATR channel, or a rejection of the 70 RSI. Oh, this one was up so nice earlier for a man solo. He took this higher low V2 at 1410. When I looked at it earlier, it was right up at the 50. But me personally, if this were my trade with the rejection of the 50-day moving average, I would take this. Doesn't look like a big trade, but actually it's about 4.73% even at this point. So really nice trade. A man solo. Builder, Mount Doji took this back on the 24th, had this bullish engulfing bar, V1. He is slightly in the money here. Hasn't extended that far away. I would probably wait for a move larger than 1 ATR for my entry before I started trailing the stock. ICE, oh, man solo. He took this a couple days ago on the 26th with this V2. Down today, looks like it's losing the half. Well, that's a tough one. Halfway of the washout bar is about right here, right where it tested. You could just get out here today with the loss of the moving averages, or you could just get out with a close below halfway of your washout bar. Just kind of depends. It's important to come up with a plan before you get into the trades, because after you can well, maybe I'll do this, well, maybe I'll do that. But anyway, I hope you have a plan there, Mon Solo. WBA, Evan took this higher low. V2, it's moved up nicely, was much higher earlier today and thoroughly rejected that 1 ATR channel. I don't like that very much, to be honest with you, at all. But let me know what you decide to do with that, Evan. And then Bing He, we just talked about that. He took that at 108.72. All right, so he's up a little on the trade, so good. Let's take a look here. Okay. Lolly said golden. Okay, golden doodle. Hey, Dr. J, what's going on, my friend? Bruce says, money while sleeping again. Thanks to Mrs. Spy. I'll give it a female twist, as it would be wonderful to make money from a lady. Okay. All right. Hey, man or lady, whatever SPY is, just glad we had an overnight trade. Amon Solo says, me too, Greg. It was so much fun to learn. Didn't realize how the time flew. It did. We did 3 hours and it went by very quickly. Hey, Marco, good to see you, my friend. Marco says, hi, Greg and all. Hope you're doing well in Slovenia today. Steve Burns. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. Always an honor to have you here. Thank you for everything you do. Steve says, hi, Greg. Hope you are staying warm in Utah. I am, because I dress really warm, but it has been very, very cold out lately. But I hope you're having a good day, my friend, and thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. Aman Sola says, my plan for ICE is to get out with the close below the 200-day, which seems what will happen today. The 200-day? 200-day is way down here. Are you talking about maybe the 100-day moving average? All right, so listen, this is the time of the day where I do like to talk about trader psychology or trading words of wisdom, some sayings that would be helpful to you. There's a lot of good Twitter channels out there. Spend a lot of time and energy putting out good sayings, good memes, good trading words of wisdom, and one of my favorites is Lone Stock Trader, as his name says he's a lone stock trader. He trades by himself, and he's very good, and he puts out great tweets. And so I read this, and it really kind of resonated with me, but I did want to share it with you. But if you haven't subscribed to Lone Stock Trader, please do yourself a favor. Lone Stock Trader, at Lone Stock Trader on Twitter. But Lone Stock Trader says, a big turning point for me was when I finally genuinely accepted the probabilistic nature of trading. Many people understand, but have not genuinely accepted that, 1, you don't need to predict to make money, 2, losses are inevitable, and 3, your highest conviction trade can result in a loss. And this is true. I really think when you get down to it, I don't know if people really do accept these things, but you don't need to predict to make money. Follow price action. Follow what the market's doing. That's the only way. You don't know how to predict. You're just guessing. You're just gambling. And even if you're right in your prediction, it doesn't mean the stocks or the market's going to go the way that you thought it would, right? Even if you were right. So, do yourself a favor. Don't try to predict. Just base your entries and your exits on what your rules are from the price action, not from your predictions. Second, losses are inevitable. Man, are they inevitable all the time. I mean, this year has been up, right? But you have to learn how to take a loss. They're going to happen a lot. I mean, I lose about 30% of my trades, win on about 70% of my trades, but still that's 30%. Some traders lose 66% of their trades and only win 33% of the time, but they still make money, right? But losses are inevitable. They're going to come. And what's the difference between, you being a decent trader or a great trader is how you're going to manage yourself and how you're going to manage your emotions when the losses come, because they will come. It doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It doesn't mean anything like that. They're just inevitable. Just like with the casino. Casinos lose money all the time in the short run, right? The chart I showed you on the S&P, up and down and up and down, that's what casinos look like too. But they know in the long run they're gonna win because they have an edge. Do you think a casino sweats every single time they lose a trade? They don't care. They know it's just part of the game. It's just the end game. Have they won more than they've lost? And then your highest conviction rate can result in a loss. So true, guys. Seriously, whenever I take a trade, I think I'm probably gonna this trade's probably gonna be a loser. And it sounds negative, but it's not. And the reason I do that is that I prime myself to be right. And if the trade goes against me, then I'm right. And I get out quickly. If I have a really high conviction trade and I take the trade, I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. This is going to be great. If it goes against me, then I'm wrong because I thought it was going to go up and I may have a harder time getting out. Does that make sense? So I don't care how many signals you have. It doesn't mean it's going to be a winning trade. Please, understand that, right? So a little trick that I use, every trade I get into, I think, this is probably going to be a loss. So if it is, I'm like, I'm right. Easy to get out of the trade. And that's the key with trading, right? You have to keep those losses small, and whatever methodology that you follow to make sure that you get out quickly is perfect. That's what you need, right? And for me, I say this is probably going to be a loss. So if it is a loss, I'm right. It's easy to get out of, and I stay within the parameters of profitable trading. Small losses, right? So whatever it takes, please remember that. But you don't have to predict to make money. Losses are inevitable. They're going to come, and your highest conviction trade can result in a loss. So thank you, Lone Stock Trader, and hope that was helpful for everyone. Okie dokie. Hey, Murat, good to see you, my friend. Murat says, in Norway, we say there is no bad weather. There is bad clothing. Oh, that's true. That is so true. I ran into a guy hiking the other day, and he was in jeans. And he said, man, maybe I shouldn't be wearing these jeans. I'm like, 100% you shouldn't be wearing those jeans. It was cold. We were way up there. That's a great saying, Murat. And hey, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you. And Man Solo says, sorry, for ICE will exit when the close below the 50 RSI in the 100-day. Seems like that is right between them now. Yeah. So we're under the 50, we're under the 100-day moving average. All right. Well, let's get going down through the charts and see what's happening. Apple. So we're down 147 points on the Dow, and we are up 242 on Apple. How about that? Apple is so freaking strong. It's unbelievable. You know, this is, you get one of these kind of moves once every decade, once every couple decades. And boy, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable here. 80 RSI up 255 on the day. Incredible. Too high. Need to wait for a pullback. Adobe is down today. Looks like we might close below the previous day's low. Looking for a pullback into the value zone. The value zone is the two green lines, the 1 ATR and the -1 ATR. So somewhere back here at the mean. Don't want to buy up here. Anything above the 1 ATR channel I considered overvalued. I want to buy at least in value. That's why I call it the value zone, or lower. So I'm going to have to be patient. Just wait for Adobe to come back to at least the value zone. Amazon. So down day today, nothing today. We did have a nice trade on Amazon back here on the 17th when we closed above the 250-day. That's a good long-term back-tested approach of being in Amazon when you're above the 250, getting out when you're under. We bought and moved sideways, but it did hold, and then we were fortunate enough to have a boom and a big boom up here. We had two huge days. I scaled out, and got out here. Got out of the rest of my trades here. I got out about 90% of it up to here, and then I got out of the rest here at the end of the day. But so far, it seems like a pretty good choice that got in and locked in all the profits. So we have this big bar up here. I would imagine that we are going to catch some support at about halfway of this bar. It got close to there, but for me to get interested on this again now, going to have a pullback into the value zone. That's really all there is to it. Even if we go under the 200 and over the 200, I'll have to see how high it is. Right now, it would be about the second ATR channel. So not sure, just have to wait and see how things play out. But anyway, this was a great trade on Amazon, and glad I got out on Friday to lock in those profits. Boeing. Well, you see Boeing came down here strongly, moved back up, bounced right off of the -1 ATR channel. This was resistance above it. When you're below it, that's going to act as resistance. And that's exactly what it did. Pegged it almost perfectly. So I would be looking at Boeing. I would look for an under 30, over 30. That's what I would be looking for Boeing. Or a move back up into the value zone with a couple days down and then a higher low V1 or V2. Berkshire Hathaway was really extended up above the third ATR channel. I said that I want to see it come back into the value zone. Well, we've slowly made our way down in, but if Berkshire Hathaway could close down here in the value zone, have a couple days sideways move, then I would look for a V1 or a V2 for an entry. So essentially just buying the dip. Beyond Meat, down today. MACD is still positive. We're at a 37.88. At this point, possibly a V1 or a V2 to the upside, or a close under 30 back over 30 is where I'd be interested in Beyond Meat. Caterpillar, still too high. It's above the 1 ATR channel. Need to pull back into the value zone. The Dow Jones, of course, this has just been going. 90% of prices do find resistance at the third ATR channel. This was strong enough to close above it, but now we're back down underneath it. Like with a lot of charts, I'm just waiting for a pullback into value. I know it's exciting to buy up here. Seems like everything's good going up. Oh, sorry. There we go. Everything's good going up, but it's better to be patient, sit on your hands, wait for a pullback into value. Don't buy overvalued. Buy in value or below value. Woo, Walt Disney. Well, I've been talking about Walt Disney for a long time. And if you guys remember, let's see, where's about half? About halfway of this big bar up here is where it should find some support. So if you extend it out over to here, we are getting pretty close to that halfway point. Doesn't mean I'm immediately going to buy there, but what I'd be looking for here is some kind of close back up into the value zone with a couple days down, higher low V1, V2, or possibly some kind of V1 or V2 that looks good around this halfway point, or at the 50-day moving average, or the negative third ATR channel, something like that. So not quite there yet, but you know, imagine if you would have got caught up in the excitement up here. Yeah, would not have been good, right? So let's just wait for a valid signal. Etsy did reject the 50-day moving average once, twice, 3 times. So I would be looking for a pullback into the value, sideways movement, and a V1 or V2. Facebook finally poked its head down into the value zone. Now I need it to come down a little bit further. Stop going down, sideways movement, V1, V2. Gold, of course, we talked about. We took the 520 crossovers. It's been a great trade. Hit another profit target today. I'll get out with a close under the 70 RSI. Google, oh, finally back in the value zone, right? Up here, it never seems like it's going to go back down, but it does eventually make its way. Now we're right in the smack dab of the value zone. Now I just need it to stop going down, have some sideways movement for a couple days, and look for a V1, V2. Look to buy that dip with the trigger. Need a trigger first. Goldman Sachs down. Need to pull back into value. Home Depot was above the 1 ATR channel. Now back down into value. Now a couple days sideways movement or more the better, and a V1, V2, or possibly a test of the 200-day moving average might also be a place to enter. IBB, I think Dr. Long shorted this right here. He had some cheap puts. I think he did pretty well on those. But, you know, again, this is above the 1 ATR channel into the value zone. But see how we're in the value zone going down, in the value zone going down? I need a couple days moving sideways. I need it to stop going down and show some consolidation. Intel, looks like we now have rejected the third ATR channel. Need to pull back into value. Russell poked its head into the value zone. Same as always. Need to pull back into the value zone. V1, V2. Johnson & Johnson, way too high. Need to pull back into the value zone. CarMax, been looking at CarMax, looking for a close back above the 30, but it's not quite there yet, so nothing there. Coca-Cola, hanging in there today, but as with the rest, I need to pull back into value. Lockheed Martin, been strong. We're above the 1 ATR channel, need to pull back into value zone. MasterCard, ooh, pretty big down day today for MasterCard, but same, need to pull back into value. Mickey D's. So here we made a high. We came back into the value zone. Now we made a lower high. So now I would need the prices to wash out this previous low before I can get involved in any kind of V1 or V2. Merck, it's been very strong. Pull back into value. Microsoft, down today. Pull back into value. Netflix. You know, someone asked me the other day, if this pulls back to the 200, would you buy it? And I wouldn't. You know, we're right here about the 1.5 ATR channel. You know, if I buy a crossover, the maximum I'll buy it is up to the second ATR channel. But here, just with the under back over the 200, I wouldn't buy this high. So again, I wait for a pullback into the value zone. Nike, back into the value zone. Philip Morris moving sideways. I've been looking for a pullback into the value zone. This is a great example. You know, I keep saying I need to pull back into the value zone. I need sideways movement. I need a V1 or V2. Well, back here we were above the 1 ATR channel. Then it came back into the value zone. Does that mean buy? No, it doesn't. That's just step one. Step one, then I need it to stop going down. I need to start going sideways. Okay, so here's back into the value zone. Here's our sideways. Does that mean buy? Nope. I need a V1 or V2 or some kind of trigger, and here was the trigger. Nice V1, also rejection of the 200-day, and look at this beautiful trade we had. Scaled out, scaled out, scaled out, and got out of what I had left here. So that was a great trade. So when I talk about pull back into value, sideways movement, and then a trigger. This is what I'm looking for. And you have to be patient. They don't come along all the time, right? Here, we're in the value zone. Does that mean buy? No. Now we need it to go sideways and look for a V1 or a V2. This is PayPal. Qs, looks like we may possibly be in danger of losing the 70 RSI today. We'll see. Who knows? We still have 20 minutes. But for me, pull back into value is what I need. Silver up a little bit today, up 0.9%. Nothing here today. I either need a pullback into value or a 5 EMA to cross back under the 20 EMA and then cross back over like here. This is the trade we took when the 5 EMA crossed over the 20. Look at this beauty. Up, 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 and I ran out of shares right here. So anyway, that was a great trade we had on gold and on silver. But I still have gold, but I ran out of silver. SPY. All right, so SPY, again, of course, overnight SPY trade, we had a little gain. We'll be buying this again at the end of the day. And so will Lolly actually today, I think, right? Bonds did have a false breakout to the downside and reverse back up. See how today we went below the previous day's low and then immediately came back up in. So this is a false breakout to the downside. Is it enough for me to buy? No, it's really not. You know, yes, it is a false breakout to the downside. There's no double bottom with a bullish divergence, anything like that. So anyway, this is a real strong reversal move, but nothing on bonds. Tesla, all right, everybody's like, I knew I should have shorted it, but they were probably thinking that here or here or here or here or here. There's only one top. Remember that, everybody. Only one top, right? And it's hard to pick it. It is hard to pick it. So where would I be interested in Tesla? Way down here. Need to pull back into the value zone. Twitter, it's above the 1 ATR channel. Need to pull back into the value zone. United Healthcare, need to pull back into the value zone. Oil, rejected the 3rd ATR channel today. Need to pull back into value. VIX has been a great trade for us so far. You know, whenever you have sideways movement and then a trigger, I like that. Like I would much rather have, you know, here we're down, down, down. If I take a V1 or a V2 with a strong down, it's like running into the wind, right? But here, I always talk about going down, sideways movement, and then having the trigger. Love to have sideways movement before I have a trigger, but one profit target today. We'll see if we get another one up here. I have it in at $16. So it's possible, but this has been a great trade so far. I mean, this has been 5.18% trade. So Verizon, nothing there. Lower high now. We need to wash out this low before I would take a V1 or a V2. Walmart. Okay, so look, here we are. Made a higher high. Came back into the value zone. Do we have sideways movement? Yeah, we really do. But now I need a trigger. So everything looks good on Walmart here except for the trigger. We need the trigger first to get me in, but I like the context of this chart. Sellers came in. Oh, buyers and sellers got kind of even here. So you're having some stability. You're building a foundation. You know, in order to build a tall building, you need to have a strong foundation. And in order for a stock to go racing up to the upside, you need some foundation. And what I consider a foundation is sideways movement. So I hope that makes sense. Oh my gosh. Look at XLE energy sector today. Murat, are you having a good day today on energy? Because I think you were kind of on the bearish side of energy. Wow, look at this, 3%. This is amazing. So nothing here. Financials, looks like we're making a lower high. Need to wash this out, so we'll pull back into value. Real estate, hanging in there. But nothing to buy here. Utilities up a little today, and healthcare. Oh, look at healthcare. Healthcare finally cracked a little bit today. So we're back in the value zone. Again, now we need it to go sideways. Then we need a V1 or a V2. All right. Everybody give me 1 sec. I need to move Katie around real quick. Okay, sorry about that. I have her on some medicine now, and it's making her arthritis a lot better. But now she's more mobile, and she's getting sassy, and she runs away from me when I want her to do something. So, all right. So, okay, real quick, current positions, gold, looking good, looking fine. Close under the 70 RSI, I would lock in profits. SPY, of course, we're going to buy that at the end of the day, and VIX is up nicely. Maybe we'll hit that second profit target. Steve says, the more conviction you have in a trade, the harder it is to stop a loss while it is still small, or lock in a profit where it is still there. So true, Steve. You know, that's why I said from that tweet from Lone Stock Trader that, you know, your highest conviction trades are the most dangerous, because it's easy for you to not get out when you're supposed to. And again, that's why, and I know it sounds negative, but that's why every single trade I get in, I'm like, it's probably a loser, and it makes it easier to get out. Hey, Mount Doji, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a nice weekend. Bing, he says, Greg, for fake out bar, does it mean the open is higher than the previous close and the close is lower than the close? Why is closing lower than previous close considered bullish? Okay, for fake out bar, does it mean the open is higher than the previous close? Okay, so the open is higher than the previous close, and the close lower than the previous close. Why is closing lower than previous close considered bullish? I'm not sure I'm following, being he. Is there a symbol that you could let me know of so I could take a look at it? You know, on a V1 or a V2, it's bullish. The fake out bar is bullish, like here, although the close isn't, because we go lower than the previous day's low and then immediately reverse back up, meaning that there were no more sellers down here. Is that what you mean? Murat says, they have been pumping this energy sector stuff for some time now. They can manipulate the short-term oil price, but they cannot manipulate the entire industry. I am bearish on both of them. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were. Murat says, if you look at the monthly chart of XLE, it breaks the support. There is nothing to hold it. It may just free fall. Yeah, if it can break down below here, well, it does have a little support here, maybe a little support here, but I hear what you're saying. Dirk says, Greg, can you let me know your viewpoint on DPM? Some sideways movement? DPM. DPM. I don't have a DPM, Dirk. Is that a European stock possibly? Because I put in DPM and I don't have it. Oh, Steve says XLE went ex-dividend today. Adjusted XLE chart looks much better. Oh, I see. Let me take a look here. Okay, well that's... Oh, Bing, he says, those green triangles. Okay, so I'll tell you what, Bing He, I'm going to talk about that at the end of after the market closes so I can get into it and it really explain. But I understand what you're saying now. Okay. But I will do that after the market closes. XLE annual dividend is 7.45%. Wow, is that right? Holy smokes. So let's take a look here. I don't have know why my charts aren't showing dividends. Okay, that does make sense. Merritt says this is a long-term support horizontal line. There's also H&S, a big one. So listen, I don't see anything today at all. Again, I am just going to stick with the current positions, which is gold, of course. That one's looking fine. Of course, I will take the SPY. And then VIX is doing pretty nicely here. So I don't see anything that I am interested in buying today whatsoever. You know, being here's the triangle. Why this is bullish is that, see the high here? See how we go above it and reverse back under? See how it's a V1 to the downside? That is bearish. But this paints this triangle. When you have a high, you go higher, reverse under, but then the next day is able to go above the high of the first day. So here, this going up and reversing under is bearish. But if you get a bearish signal that immediately reverses back up, now it becomes bullish. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So here's the high. This goes up and reverses. This is very bearish. And this triangle, you would not see this triangle if today, let me see. If today went under... Oh, yeah, I can't do it that way. But here's the high. We go higher, reverse under. That is negative. Definitely bearish. But if you can then, the next day, which is today, go higher than that first high, then it becomes bullish. So let's see if we can find another one. Well, here you have a high. This one went higher than this and closed under. And then the next day closed over. That's why it painted that bar. Doesn't always work, right? But it's just another tool to look at, like here. Here's a high. This one goes higher, then closes under, and then this closes over this high. That is bullish. Then you get two in a row, right? Then you get another one. So here's a high. This one goes higher, closes under. This day closes higher than that. So it's something I learned from Larry Williams like 20 years ago. But think about it. If you have a V1 to the downside, it's bearish. But if the next day it reverses back up, that's bullish. If I have a V1 in the value zone that I buy that goes up, a V1 to the upside, then immediately goes below, that's bearish. So that is why these fake out bars here with the triangles. High, go higher, close under. Most likely this should go back down, but when you have a bearish move to the downside and then the next day it immediately goes back up, that is bullish. A man solo says, eat or shoe. Well, here we make a lower low underneath the 1 ATR channel. We come back in. This day really wasn't down though. We have 1 day down, and I would say this bar here, a man solo, is larger than 1 ATR. So in my opinion, we're missing out on two things. We don't have 2 days down because this day was up. This bar is a little bit big. I like that we rejected the 200-day, and it is maybe a V2, but I personally don't think I would take it if it were me. Yes, it is a V. Well, it's a V1. Here's day 1, here's day 2. It is a V1. This bar looks a little bit too large for me to buy, and I didn't have 2 days down. So I personally would not buy that one, but you let me know if you do. Steve Madden. Yeah, that one's better. I like that one a lot more than the previous one. Here we close above the 1 ATR channel. We come back down. We make a lower high, but today we wash out that low, and it looks like we have a pretty good, actually. We have a pretty good V1 here from Friday's close. So where would your stop be on this? Well, you could, couple ways. You could use a halfway here, halfway of the washout bar. You could use here, or you could use a close below the 50 RSI as well. So I do like that one much better. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly's a little high. I mean, it's a little high. If this chart, if this setup here was up at the third ATR channel, on the weekly, there is no way I would take it. But it's on the second ATR channel on the weekly, so it's okay. But yeah, I mean, I think it gives you a pretty good risk to reward ratio. Washes out the lower high, washes this out. Couple days sideways movement. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Let me know if you take that one. Yeah, it did bounce off the 200. I do get that, but I didn't have 2 days down. That's the only reason. And right now, I'm not even sure it's forming a V2. Mount Doji says thoughts on PCG. Here above the 1 ATR channel, come back in, we make a lower high. We'd have to wash out this low, but here we make a lower high than this high. We did wash out the low here. How are we doing on time? 2 minutes. And a V1. Yeah, not bad. This one does offer you a good risk to reward. I probably like this one better than any, but it's Pacific Gas and Electric. It's a $10 stock. I don't like that. You guys know I don't really like low price stocks. I like stocks, the big winning stocks that have good fundamentals. I think it's important, but from just a technical standpoint, yes, it lower high, washes out the previous low, has a nice V1 above 50 RSI, so not too bad at all. Bing He says, thanks. I was confused why the green triangle is shown on the second bar instead of the third bar, which confirms the breakout. Yeah, I'm not sure, but, well, yeah, I'll have to look at that. But this is just something a long time ago that I learned. Here's day one. Here's a high. We go higher, close lower with the green bar. And the reason, it will only confirm the green bar on the second day if the third day goes above day one. So look, here's the V1 to the downside. This should be negative, but immediately the next day it goes back up. So if you have a negative that gets negated by a positive, now it's a positive again. Well, S&P is selling off here pretty good. Now we're down 200 points. So I'm going to be buying the SPY today. That is it. All right, let's take a look, see. So I bought SPY. At 321.08. All right, so there's our new SPY trade. So gold did hit the one profit target. Close under the 70 is where I'm getting out. For my trailing stop, SPY we bought here, 321.08. And then VIX had a really nice day here with the one profit target. So I'm happy to announce I did hit another yearly high today in my account. So thank you for that. And again, never be cocky. Just be grateful when you make new highs in your accounts, right? It means that you're following your process. You're probably doing what you're supposed to do. But keep in mind that it's great to make new highs all the time, but there will be a time where you're going to have a drawdown, and that's really is going to show you what you're made of as a trader, is if you can stick with your plan even in the adversity of having a drawdown. So anyways, pretty light here all in all. Let's take a look. Yes, it did get a V2 signal, Bing He. I'm glad to see that. That makes me feel better. So, make sure you have your stop in place, either close below halfway the washout or close under 30, whatever your trading plan is for your stop. Doesn't mean one stop's better than the other. But those, for me, would be the two options: a close under 30 or a close under halfway this washout bar. Andrea, hey, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Andrea says, hi, everyone. Wow, Greg, what a great call that VIX trade was. Well, yeah, in hindsight, it was great, right? I didn't know it was going to be. I didn't know it was going to be, but I did like the setup. I thought the setup was great, but that doesn't mean it's going to go my way. But in this case, it did. But nice to see you, Andrea. JT says, we are short 3 viewers to match our yearly high of 40 viewers. Hey, is that right, JT? I didn't even know that. I don't usually look and see how many viewers there are. So 40's our record. That's great. That's great. Thanks for letting me know. Man Solo says, no trades today, exited ICE. All right. So Man Solo exited ICE for a small loss. That is allowed. Good to see that, my friend. I'm glad that you stuck with your plan. Evan says, close DG and WBA. Okay. All right. Close that with the rejection of the 50-day moving average, but that was profitable. WBA was slightly profitable, so good job, Evan. And then what did you buy today? MDC. MDC. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks good. False breakout to the downside. See, here's the low of the range. We popped our head under, rejected it, and a V1. So pretty good. False breakout to the downside, pretty sweet V1. Very nice. So you got 3807. 3807 for Evan. Evan M. Nice, bud. Hope that works out for you. Just, we don't know if it is or not, but it's a good, it's a good technical setup. So, where would my stop be? Probably halfway of the washout bar. That's me. I don't know what you're going to do, but that would probably be my stop. Just to give that a short little move stop to the downside if you're wrong. Dr. Jorgensen says, good hike, bundle up, cold in the mountains today, cool and cloudy in the desert, sunshine coming with warmer weather. Ah, good. Thanks, Bruce. I'll talk to you later, bud. Steve says, all I have left is gold here. Oh, wow. So we were both paring down our positions quite a bit. Steve had the same gold trade. So nice job, Steve. Steve says, VIX was a beast to the upside today. Well done. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Of course, I had nothing to do with it, right? I didn't know if it was going to go up or down, but I'm grateful that it went up. Let's take a look at the VIX. Let's take a look at the index. Ooh. So here the 10-day EMA is at 1332. The 30-day EMA is at 1340. If the 10 crosses over the 30, that shows that we're in a high volatility environment. So Larry Connors did this back test. And so, when the 10 is over the 50, be careful, right? But currently it just looks like it's kissing it. A lot of times you have these kisses, and then volatility may go back down, may go away, but who knows for sure, right? But I guess technically the 10 is still under the 30, so still quote low in volatility environment. But I mean, if you look at the price action, obviously it's been, like Steve said, it's been a beast. So we did reject the 200-day. So that might be good for the market, right? That it did reject the 200-day. That's bearish. That would be bullish for the market, but we'll see. Oh, Steve says VIX very close to the 1030 crossover. Yep, exactly what I was just talking about. Bing He says, Greg, for DG, why you mentioned to get out based on only one bearish signal that it rejected the 50 SMA? Does it mean one bearish signal hit is better to get out of a trade? DG. Yeah, so when I get into a position, being I like to have a multiple confluence or combination of indicators. If I buy at the 30 RSI and it rejects the 50 RSI, that's my signal to get out. If it goes back above the 50 RSI, but then gets rejected by the 50 SMA, simple moving average, then that is my signal to get out as well. So, just like if we have a trade that's going our way and it rejects the 70 RSI, that's my signal to get out. If you take a trade lower and it rejects the 50 RSI, that's my signal. If it goes above the 50 and closes, I would keep it. But then if it rejects the 50, that's my signal. So when I buy under the 50-day moving average and under the 50 RSI, if I reject one or both or either of those, that is my signal to get out. I don't need a confluence of signals to get out. If it rejects the 50 RSI or the 50-day moving average, that's all I need. So, hey, I'm going to just quickly do my little daily plug. And if you have any more questions, please let me know. But I do offer private one-on-one coaching and teaching lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I've had great success with my clients. I do have a course, 5 sessions. Each session is 2 to 3 hours. I teach you everything I've learned over the last 24 years as a full-time stock trader. I teach you everything I've learned from all my coaches and mentors over the years. I teach you everything I've developed for myself over those years, and I've had really good success with my clients. It's pretty intense course. It's just one-on-one. Basically, the format is at the beginning of each session, I do the teaching. At the end of the second part, I have you teach everything back to me that I've taught you. We do a lot of chart study. We go through lots of charts. I have you break down the chart, just like I break down the chart here on the podcast. I put it in your hands and you have to break it down to me. That way I really know that that you've learned what I've taught you that day. So like I said, I've had great success with my clients. I think it has changed their trading around quite a bit. I think it's very valuable for the price. It is $1,000, but like I said, it's between 10 and 15 hours and it's one-on-one. So I think you're going to come away a much better trader. So if you're interested, I kind of start the process with a free Skype call. If you'd like to do a Skype call with me, I interview you a little bit. You can interview me a little bit. I like to know more about you. I like to know more about your trading career, what your challenges have been, what your goals are. And, if we do end up working together, then I'll put together a lesson plan based upon what you've told me. So, if you'd like to have the free Skype call, there's no obligation, I promise. My email is in the description of this video down below, or you can reach out to me on Twitter. And yeah, reach out, say hi, and say, hey, let's get the Skype call scheduled. And like I said, we'll interview each other. We'll see if it's a good fit. And if it is a good fit, we can move forward. And if not, it's nice talking to you anyway on Skype, right? And then if you did like today's podcast, if you find it helpful, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It helps Google or YouTube understand that there's some good content on here and that they should share it with more people. And there's a lot of people out there, everybody that have a really difficult time trading. And I think if I could get them to this channel, I think it would help their trading. I think they would look at trading a whole different way, repeating to them all the time, risk to reward, have a plan, everything we talk about, I think will help them. So if you could hit the thumbs up button on before you leave, I would really, really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. That would be great too. So, okay, there's the end of my plug. Evan says, thanks again for keeping an eye on my trades and keeping me in check. Hey man, I'll tell you what, Evan, it is important to have some kind of workaround to make sure you're staying in your trades, right? Whether it's here, us watching your trades, or your family or your loved one or significant other watching your trades. It's important to be responsible to somebody, especially in something like this. If no one knows what you're doing, you can go off the reservation, do anything you want, and it could be bad. So, try to construct your life around trading that so someone else can see what you're doing so that you don't have free reign and you're reined in a little bit. So, Man Solo, highly recommend the one-on-one lessons with Greg. Oh, thank you, Man Solo. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hey, Clarence Beeks, what's up, Jesse? Good to see you, my friend. Jesse is a previous student of mine. How are you doing, sir? How are you doing? Do you have any trades on at the moment, Jess? So let's see. So SPY's up a little after hours. VIX is up a little after hours. And gold. Is flat. So it's all we have. We have gold. Nice trade here. Close under the 70. SPY, we had the nice quick little overnight small profit, but profit nonetheless. And then we bought much lower today here at 321.08. And then VIX has been a really nice trade for us so far, up about 5%. And we did hit one profit target on that today. Okay, so Jesse's flat currently. Okay. I'll tell you what, for some reason, I don't see any trades tomorrow. I mean, who knows? You never know. But tomorrow's the last trading day of the year. And I may just go flat tomorrow. I may not even do the overnight SPY trade tomorrow just because that way I can clear all my positions. And then going into the new tax year, I closed it all out. I don't know 100%, but I'm kind of leaning that way. Shane, hey Shane, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Shane says, curious if what you teach in mentorship is applicable to other markets. Oh, Shane, do you mean like futures, commodities, bonds, oil, things like that? Is that what you mean, Shane? If it is, yes, of course. I mean, technicals are technicals. If you're trading futures, things like that, Shane, it's certainly going to be different as far as, your position size, things you're taking like that, because of course, if you're trading futures, there's so much leverage. So, to keep things reasonable, to keep things conservative, you probably have to have quite a lot of money in that futures account. That's the danger with futures. You have such high leverage. And most people don't have a lot of money in those futures accounts, but they have super high leverage. So he says, yes, sir. So yes, totally applicable. I used to trade futures. I have a lot of experience with futures for sure and other markets, but yeah, I mean, technicals should work on whether they're stocks or commodities or gold or anything like that. But yes, but we would have to look at things like account balance and, risk. And when you're trading futures, it's a whole different thing, because with stocks, you can position size perfectly, right? You don't want to take a 10% position size in futures. Like, I take 10% position size of my capital. If I had $100,000, I'd take buy $10,000 worth of this stock or that stock, and then I phase out. But if you take 10% of your position size on futures and then use that, you have a huge position because of all the leverage in futures. So we'd have to work that one through, take a look at some balances and come up. I mean, I would probably use 1% of my capital, or maybe less, if I was buying futures. Marit says, what were you trading when you were trading futures? Everything: coffee, sugar, oil, index futures for the market, rough rice. You guys ever traded rough rice? So, but the mains, the biggies, although rough rice is not a biggie, but I mean, all of them. I really started out as a futures trader. Japanese yen. Tomorrow I'm going to tell you the nightmare trading story of my life, having to do with the Japanese yen. That will be a good year-end story for us to learn some lessons from. Shane says, absolutely different instruments and risk control. Thanks, Greg. Yes, you're totally welcome, Shane. If I can help you with any of that, you please let me know, okay? So Jess is flat currently. All right. I don't know if Anthony's out there, but if you're out there, buddy, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. If Kurt's out there, hope you're doing well. So yeah, we had a good group today. So we had 37. That's pretty good, I think. And thanks, JT, for letting me know that. All right. So what did we end down? We ended up down 183 points. Wow. Wow. Well, I like where we're sitting. Just a little gold left. Overnight SPY. And then VIX, as long as it's moving our way, I will keep it. Okay, Dollar General's gone. All right, Aman Solo still has this on Comcast. That's been a nice trade, Aman Solo. Up 3.47% so far. That's really good. Your love, did you keep a hold of love, Aman Solo? Did you keep your love position? That's correct, Lolly. Sell however many shares you have, SPY, market, day. And then you're done, and it will sell first thing tomorrow. Dirk says, are you always long, or depends from the market conditions, now a lot of overvalued stock? Mainly, Dirk, to the upside, I do trade long. I've had maybe five, 6 short trades this year. But yeah, the majority of my trades are long. So when things get overvalued, I don't really necessarily look at shorting them. I just wait for them to come back to the value zone to buy. Mert says, can you take a look at the XLE chart? Oh, yeah. All right, let me take a look-see here. Wow, that's the most I can blow it up there. So let's see, very interesting XLE prediction, but I think chart perhaps indicates something else. If it breaks 5568 line, it is going to break down badly. I imagine that, I can't make this any bigger, unfortunately, or can I? Oh, a little bit. Okay, so 5568 line here, that's where you have the big down move. I see this chart quite bearish indeed, and I think similar relative comparisons like automatic or airlines result in opposite. Yeah, if it breaks that, Merritt, you are 100% right. I mean, there's not a whole lot left down there, especially if you go after the theory of if you can go from here to here, from here down to here, that could carry through the same distance to the downside. That's how a lot of people look at these as well. So if you can go from this distance to this distance, then flip that distance back to this side, maybe down into this area. So interesting. So yeah, Dirk, yeah, a lot of overvalued stocks for sure, but I just think it's an easier, more holistic way to trade, Dirk, is wait for the pullbacks. There's nothing worse than to lose money going short when the market's going up and you're not in it. So you're not long, but actually you're losing money because when it's going up. Like I'd rather like just be flat and let the market take off without me. I mean, it's unfortunate, but at least you're not losing any money. But if you're short and the market's going up, then not only are you not long, but you're short and you're losing money. So it's just a personal preference, Dirk. I just prefer to wait for dips. That's why when I was going through all the charts today, I was like, wait for it to come back into the value zone. Wait for it to come back into the value zone. Ryan, hey bud, good to see you. Ryan says, just quit futures trading. Way too much leverage and difficult to control with our lovely president tweeting all the time. Futures are tough, Ryan. They're tough. That's why I stopped trading them. I mean, they trade like other things. It's just the leverage, right? I like to phase out of things, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 profit targets. But if you want to phase out of futures, well, you have a huge position, right? If you're going to phase out of 3 positions, then you have to have a minimum 3 contracts. And 3 contracts is a huge position depending on what you're trading. So that is why I moved back. I just, went to stocks. I could completely identify what my risk was. I could get out easily. There was no leverage. So, I mean, futures are dangerous. I mean, if you have a lot of money, then you can probably get your risk control and get all your ratios in line. But, for a lot of people, they have a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 account. Even taking one position in like SPY or coffee or bonds, it's going to be a huge mover, and it's such an emotional roller coaster with futures. So, Kurt, hey buddy. Hey, Greg and all. Yes, I'm taking the same approach. I'm all out. No trades until the new year. Okay, that sounds good. Hope you're doing well, Kurt. Wow. Well, what an interesting day. What an interesting day today. And I'm glad, very happy today that, had a good combination of pretty much defensive things here. So going forward on the VIX here, if we reject the 70 RSI, or excuse me, the 50 RSI, I'll go ahead and just get out. That'll be my profit target. If it closes above the 50 RSI, and if Bing He's still listening, if it closes above the 50, then the next day, if it closes back below the 50, I'll get out. But if it goes above the 50 RSI, keeps going, and then rejects the 50 RSI, that would be my reason to get out. This orange line up here is my ultimate profit target. Actually, that was from Friday. So for tomorrow, I'll move it down here to the 50. So that will be my ultimate profit target. Dirk says there are now micro futures with less leverage. Example, MES or E-minis. Yes, that is true. That is true. Which helps for sure, right? When I started trading, we didn't have an E-mini. It was one monster contract that you had to buy. So yeah, it helps for sure. But I'll tell you, I mean, trading futures, you really better have your trading plan down. Make sure all your ratios are under control. You know, the micro futures, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't trade them, so I don't know what the liquidity is on them if they have large bid-ask spreads. But you know, if you go to a casino, you know how casino has, okay, it's a $500 slot machine. Ooh, that's a little steep. And then they have $100 slot machines. That's too steep. Then they have 25, and then they have $5 ones, and they have $1 ones, and then they have penny ones. The way that I look at that, they're like, we want to extract as much money from people, even their little penny change, we want it, right? And that's how I look at some of these micro futures, right? Yes, it helps with the leverage is less and your how much you're risking compared to how much you have in your account. It helps that, but I really look at it like, you know, the financial market getting together going, well, okay, so there's a lot of people don't have a lot of money, but we can at least get what they have. Just my own opinion, but that's really how I look at these micro futures. Being He says, when oil stocks down, does it mean airline stocks go up? I am thinking to get into a HK airline stock tomorrow. Well, if oil goes down, then that helps the airline's bottom line because they're paying less for oil. So yeah, I could see how, that might be the case, Bing He. Mert says, I can tell you one thing. I short oil once. I was just putting my stop loss and Trump tweeted. The oil jumped like hell before I entered my stop. Yes, you have to be careful about Trump. Yeah, I mean, any tweets from any politicians, especially the president, especially on something like oil, is going to have a huge effect. So the takeaway here, everybody, is just position size conservatively so that if something really bad does happen, you don't have that large of a position, because things like that do happen. Sorry that happened there, bud. Am I right? All right. So, Murray, thank you, sir. Good seeing you. Good luck with all your trades. Bing He, thanks for coming, my friend. Hope you had a good day, or hope you have a good day in Singapore. And Dirk, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Kurt, good seeing you. Thanks for coming. Lolly, nice seeing you over the weekend. And congratulations on your first trade on the SPY. And we'll be watching that, see how that goes. Ryan, thanks for that. And I am kind of glad to hear that you quit trading futures. And if there's anything I can help you with here, just on the stock side, let me know. Shane, good to see you. Anything I can help you with, let me know, but I appreciate you coming here. Jesse, nice to see you, my friend. Flat sounds like a good position, and looks like maybe we'll take some positions at the beginning of the year. Let me know how that all goes, okay? Man Solo, good to see you, bud. Looking forward to our call on Thursday, I believe it is, our second call. You did excellent on the first one. Evan, good to see you, bud, and we'll watch those trades for you. Make sure you do the right thing, right? Steve Burns, thank you, my friend. And hope you had a nice weekend. And actually, I was going to watch your newsletter last night, your video newsletter, and then I got too tired. So I will watch that tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. And if you guys have not, if you don't know about it, let me just quickly just put this up here because it is really valuable. I subscribe to this personally myself right here, newtraderu.com. This is from Steve Burns under here, video newsletter. He breaks down his watch list every other day. And you can see this one I didn't, but 2 to 3 to 4 minutes per symbol. And it is really helpful. Like I said, I subscribe to it. I think it's well worth the money. It's reasonable. And so I think it would be a good addition. But thanks for that, Steve. I always look forward to that. Dr. Jorgensen, good seeing you, bud. Have a good rest of your day. A Man Solo. Oh, I said goodbye to Man Solo, but that's okay. And JT, thank you for coming, my friend. And thanks for keeping track on the viewers. That's great. So the year high was 40. That's good to know. And Andrea, good seeing you. Thank you. Appreciate you coming. Anything I can do, let me know, okay? Mount Doji, good seeing you, bud. Hope you have a good rest of your evening. Let's see here. And Marco, of course. Good to see you, Marco. Hope you have a good evening there in Sylvania. And anything I can do, you please let me know, okay? And Pat Connell, thank you for coming. Nice to have you. Appreciate it. William, good seeing you. Have a good day. Say hello to Coop for me. And Alan, good seeing Alan. And Christopher, good seeing Christopher. Have a good rest of your evening, sir. And is that it? Let's see. William Hart. Hey, William Hart. Steve's the man. Yes, he is. 100% he's the man. It's had a huge influence on my trading. You know, I studied one-on-one with Steve Burns for, I guess, a couple years, and we got to be friends. And so I appreciate everything he's taught me, and I appreciate him being here as well. Bing he said, VXX rejected 20 EMA. Do you ignore this bearish signal? Yeah, I mean, I bought it under 30 over 30, right? So under 30 over 30, I'm going to be keying off of the 50. Yes, it's not a bullish signal that it rejected the 20 for sure. Actually, it didn't reject it though. It didn't even touch it. But on this kind of a trade, Bing He, you know, it's either under 30 or rejection of the 50, or now that it's moved more than one ATR for my entry, if I have a close below the previous day's low, then that will be my trailing stop. So just because it rejected the 20, not enough, still made a higher high, still made a higher low, right? Made a higher than yesterday's, made a higher low than yesterday's. If this would have done this to the 50, that's a different story. All right. Thanks, Marco. And good evening to you too, and Pat. So, all right, everybody, listen, on the way out, just want to remind you two things. One, go out. Please do something nice for somebody today, a wave or a smile or hold the door open or something, right? You never know what that little thing, it might mean a huge amount to that person. It might really make that person have a much better day than they would have without your small little kind gesture, right? So just a little small kind gesture really could change somebody's day. It's free, so why not do it? It's a good habit to get into. And number two, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button and you like the show, have to like the show before you hit the thumbs up button, find it valuable. But on your way out, if you could hit it, if you haven't, I would really appreciate it. So anyway, great day. Yearly high today in the account, so I'm very grateful for that. Like the positions we have, and so tomorrow's last day of the year, last day of the decade. It's such a crazy thing. You know, every decade is different, right? Like we know what the 50s were about, what the 60s were about, what the 70s and 80s, right? What is the 2020s going to be about? It's kind of exciting, kind of scary at the same time, right? So, you know, one day to the next can be completely different. 1 week in trading, 1 week to the next can have a completely different feel. 1 decade to the next can have a completely different feel. So should be interesting. Should be interesting. I remember when it turned 2000, when I was a young buck. So anyway, all right, everybody. Thanks again for coming. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and hopefully you can come by tomorrow for the last day of the trading year and the last day of the trading decade during the last hour of the market. So thanks again, everybody. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye now. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.